Libya, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia. When the question of the behind-the-scenes actor responsible for igniting simultaneous wars in multiple parts of the world arises, all eyes usually turn to the United States, Russia, or China, or at most to the United Kingdom and France. But this time, a very small country with a very small population is operating behind the scenes of these bloody conflicts in different parts of the world. Governments generally prefer to pursue their interference in the affairs of other countries quietly. Unfortunately for them, the Emiratis were not successful this time. The siege of the city of El Fasher and the massacre of more than 2,000 innocent Sudanese civilians by the Rapid Support Forces became the spark that directed global reactions toward the country backing this group. The United Arab Emirates is a small, wealthy country on the shores of the Persian Gulf, best known for its tourist destinations, but it appears that the ambitions of this sheikdom go far beyond that. Many questions have been raised about the UAE's indirect presence in Sudan. What motivates this role? And is Sudan the only country in which the Emiratis are pursuing their objectives? What is the goal of Sudan's involvement in different countries? The relationship between the Emiratis and the Rapid Support Forces dates back several years. The United Arab Emirates has essentially established a patron-client relationship with Sudan's Rapid Support Forces. In fact, this partnership predates the 2023 civil war. Since 2017, the RSF has sent thousands of Sudanese fighters to Yemen as mercenaries on behalf of the UAE. This group controls most of Sudan's gold mines in Darfur. Hemedti, the leader of the RSF, and his allies receive currency and political support in exchange for sending gold to Dubai. In return, Emirati companies benefit from access to one of Africa's richest gold reserves. Control of Darfur's gold fields means control of the money that fuels war, and a significant portion of this war money reaches Emirati markets through hidden channels. By maintaining this economic pathway, the UAE benefits from Sudan's political future and preserves its leverage over the country. Agreements between the two sides include the transfer of weapons and ammunition from Emirati bases in Chad and Libya, as well as through land corridors stretching from Somalia to Darfur. The UAE has also paid the salaries of Colombian mercenaries who, after being recruited to guard oil facilities in the UAE, went on to fight for the RSF. These mercenaries played a major role in the siege of Al Fasher and in training the forces they supported. But Sudan is not the only country in which the UAE is pursuing its goals. The UAE has also intervened in Libya. Khalifa Haftar, commander of the so-called Libyan National Army, LNA, entered into direct conflict with the UN-backed government of National Accord, GNA, in 2014. Haftar presented himself as a force against terrorism and a guarantor of stability, but his critics viewed him as seeking military dominance. Since 2014, the UAE has been one of Haftar's main backers, supplying drones, ammunition, and even unmarked aircraft to prevent the influence of Islamist groups and to expand its influence in North Africa through control over ports and energy routes. In Yemen, after several decades of internal conflict and ultimately widespread protests against governmental corruption, with the outbreak of a revolution and the seizure of parts of the country by Ansar Allah, the United Arab Emirates, as part of the Saudi-led Arab coalition, attacked the country and armed and trained Southern forces, the Southern Transitional Council, in order to take control of strategic ports and islands such as Aden, Socotra, and Mocha. However, the UAE went even further than this. In May 2018, it deployed its military forces to the island of Socotra, took control of the airport and the port, and raised its flag over some buildings. Matters reached a point where even the Saudis protested. At present, the UAE, through the Southern Transitional Council, controls this strategic island at the mouth of the Gulf of Aden, along one of the world's most important shipping routes. In Bahrain, with the onset of the Arab Spring wave in the country, widespread protests against the ruling government took shape. The Sunni al-Khalifa regime, which for years had suppressed the Shiite majority of the country, now found itself closer than ever to collapse. But the al-Khalifa were not alone in the face of this tide of protests. The member states of the Gulf Cooperation Council, concerned about the repetition of a Shiite revolutionary model in their own countries and unwilling to tolerate the fall of an important ally, intervened. Among these countries, the UAE, alongside Saudi Arabia, sent its military forces to Bahrain and took part in suppressing the people of the country. The al-Khalifa emerged victorious from this confrontation, owing their victory to their allies. In Ethiopia, where ethnic political disputes, competition for power, and the centralizing reforms of Abiy Ahmed escalated tensions between the central government and the Tigray region, the UAE came to the aid of Abiy Ahmed's government by supplying Chinese-made drones and played a role in the Tigray War, which resulted in an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe. According to unofficial statistics, this war left up to 600,000 people dead and millions displaced. In recent years, the UAE has also established significant influence in Somaliland, a region that unilaterally declared independence from Somalia and holds high geostrategic importance for Abu Dhabi due to its sensitive location at the mouth of the Gulf of Aden. The centerpiece of this influence is the port of Berbera, developed by DP World, where Abu Dhabi has also established a military base. For the UAE, this port serves as an alternative to Yemeni ports and as a point of control over Red Sea shipping routes. Through economic projects, training of security forces, and infrastructure investment, the UAE has strengthened Somaliland's de facto independence from the central government, turning it into a lever of pressure against Mogadishu, a matter that has repeatedly strained relations between the two sides. Alongside Berbera, Emirati investment in the port of Bosaso has expanded its network of influence in areas beyond the control of the central government. The UAE's presence in Somaliland is part of a broader strategy to control maritime trade routes, compete with Turkey and Qatar, and build parallel structures of influence in the Horn of Africa. The list goes on: Chad, Mali, Egypt, and others. Ultimately, what emerges from these scattered cases is a coherent picture of Emirati foreign policy. The UAE lacks many classical sources of power, such as territorial size, strategic depth, and population. To compensate for these shortcomings and increase its weight, it has turned to building influence in critical across the region, securing leverage for potential crises, and enhancing its bargaining power. Maritime trade accounts for 80% of global trade, and a country that can dominate key ports and choke points increases its importance both commercially and geopolitically. For a country like the UAE, this strategy goes far beyond the common perception of a small but wealthy state. From Darfur to Tripoli, from Socotra to Manama, Abu Dhabi is constructing a network of security and economic influence based on resources, ports, shipping lanes, and armed groups. From curbing rival ideologies, such as political Islam, to controlling vital arteries of the Belt and Road Initiative, and increasing its weight vis-a-vis competing power blocks. But this ambition comes at a cost, both for the countries that become arenas of regional power competition and for the UAE itself, which is now under closer public scrutiny than ever. The central question remains: can the UAE continue this high-risk game without consequences? And more importantly, what price will the countries that have become platforms for Emirati influence ultimately pay? This story is not over. It is only becoming more complex.